So for the theme of our section, we had in times of desperation, both the best and worst in human nature appear. So we chose to have a large picture of the man and boy as well as the cart because they're the characters and we're kind of introducing them. The cart really is a character, and so that's why it's just as big as the man and boy is. It's just as important, really. So that's that. And then moving on here, we're kind of just following the road as it goes along and putting pictures of that represent our quotes along the road. That's the supermarket, and we have the shoes, and it's raining at this part, so we put rain up top. The Sea Rock City barn. The shoes are symbolic of their lives. Every time throughout the story that something happens to their shoes, it's bad for them too. And when they get new shoes, it's kind of like refreshing their life. And then following along the road, we have various quotes that present our theme throughout the novel, and symbols and motifs and so on. I don't know what that is. And so going along here, we have the waterfall, and it was symbolic of new life, rebirth, sort of refreshing them along their journey, keeping them alive. And the penguin, the boy has a dream about a toy penguin that is alive even though all the gears are broken, and it's symbolic of humanity not giving up and its unwillingness to die even when it should. And then we have the fire, the forest fire. The picture of the wife and the credit cards when he lays his wallet in the road. It's representative of him letting go of the past, in particular his wife. The old man who gets the lightning struck man who's sitting in the middle of the road. The deck of cards, because in the scene where they're playing cards and he's remembering rules to old games and making up new games when you can't remember, represents them not letting go of the past.
Period. We become less human when our ability to empathize is lost. For our section of the wall, we chose to emphasize the pistol, and the pistol represents how the boy and the man chose to protect themselves and keep safe. It was also a symbol for how they could get a quick and easy way out of life. And then we move on to the truck. The truck kind of symbolizes the world and how it, in this book, the world will eventually run out. And then we have the flute. The flute kind of symbolizes hope and the past, and how the father wanted to bring back some of the joy that he had in the past and allow the boy to experience some of that. And then we move on to another symbol is the lighter. The lighter represents carrying the fire and the will to live, and it also represents safety and protection. And when they actually lose the lighter in the bad cellar, they kind of lose their hope, and things tend to come a little bit down until they enter the good cellar later on in the book. Another symbol of our section of the road was the corpses, and the corpses just represent death and how the world was dark and depressing. And then the smoke in the city represents how it's kind of a barrier between the unknown and how they don't know what is there, they don't know what's coming in front of them.
Okay, so this is our section for the third period, and our theme for the whole period, for our section of the law, was during dark times, moments of goodness keep the fire of hope ablaze. And this is just symbolizing how, it pretty much states that during this dark time of the road and the depression and the events that the boy and the father faced, that they were able to keep that hope alive. Now we're starting here, and they're traveling on the road, and they come by the good seller, and the good seller's filled with these goods, and pretty much is another example of hope that they come to find along the road, such as that it symbolizes the entity of hope. Before finding the good seller, the man suffering from illness and starvation as the days passed was beginning to lose hope. He was poised to lose his life because of all the unfortunate events he has witnessed. However, once he discovered the good seller and all the utensils and the provisions it provided, he began to gain a new sense of hope and come across a glimmer of light in the world of darkness. Then he continues on through the road and have the dinner with Eli, another sign of hope. And Eli indirectly states that he had lost hope, his fire, for a long time.
For our section of the road, our theme was, when your road seems unclear, love will carry you forward. And for us, we really felt that this section of the road really brought out the conflict and the desperation in making a decision. So we started it with the creek, for many reasons, that this was a very tiny section of the wall, so we couldn't have anything too giant. But we also, knowing that water is such an important symbol throughout this entire novel, about drinking the water and filtering through the ash, knowing that what they're drinking, even though it's supposed to be good for them, is still somewhat hurting them, and the irony of that. So we continue on, and we included the section where they have really their last communion together. And of course, knowing through Foster's book, the peace that they finally find here is the last chance they have to be civilized. And really, throughout this whole book, that's what they're searching for, another type of goodness and civilization. So we continue on, and we have the image of the map, and that was really important for our theme, because the map is really a motif for their journey. And as the map is torn and shattered, so is their journey. And that is the first part of our theme, when your road seems unclear. So from there, we have them pushing the cart again to keep consistency, and we finally get to the ocean, which is one of the biggest scenes in this whole novel, and one of the most important. We have to have the ocean because it represents so much, ironically and otherwise. Even though oceans are supposed to have life and goodness in them, this ocean is dead and gone. And especially with the Pájaro de Esperanza, the bird of hope, the irony of that boat, where there is no hope left. And throughout this entire book, they're searching for the ocean, and they get here, and there isn't a climax. There's nothing here anymore. So after that, we go on, and we have the thief, the naked thief, after they take the cart back, and they have to hunt him down. And for us, that really showed the boy's insistence on love. After the quote, you have to stop crying, but the boy, all he wants is just to help him. And that is the next step of the theme. When your road seems unclear with the map, love will carry you forward. And this is the first part of that second half. So we continue along the road, and we get through the field and the house where he uses the flare gun to shoot the man that shot him with the arrow. And the flare gun is a huge symbol when it's supposed to symbolize aid and help and surviving. This is kind of an ironic symbol in that it shows the desperation for survival. And so really,
even though he's using it to help him, the whole irony of using it to hurt someone else shows the confusion in this world about who's good and who's bad, and who's on the same side, if there are any sides. So we continue on the road, and the last big scene, of course, is the father's death. So with this death, even though the father symbolizes safety and protection, now the boy's safety and protection has gone away with his death, and it's making us realize he has to grow up and he has to go on. And so after this last scene, you have the new family that's coming to offer him a new life, offer this boy a new life after he has to grow up. And this is the ending part of our theme, that love will carry you forward. And so with this new family, with this mother figure that he's never really known, it shows the fact that he's moving on, and that really, through their new love, that is the only way to move on.